James says in the second reading, we should not show partiality. We should not play favorites and regard some as more important than others. If we just care to admit it, we even, at least in our minds and in our hearts, we judge people. We classify them into, according to our standards, approved or not. How many of us, and me included, right? How many of us treat, like on the road, treat drivers of tricycles or cheap cars or jeepneys? How many of us look down on them and yet regard those behind the wheels of expensive cars as more respectable, right? We're intimidated by them, but we look down on humble people. And we think more highly of some than others. In the Philippines, and I really hate this. I've told our American guests a couple of weeks ago, I really hate this, the prevalence of this thinking in the Philippines, or attitude, not just thinking, but more of attitude, that we regard those who can speak the English language better than others, and we respect them more than those who cannot speak the language, when it's not our primary language, right? Why would we expect people to have a good command of another language when we have our own? I'm not saying don't learn other languages. What I'm saying is it's not a healthy attitude to gauge the worth of a man by his ability to speak a language other than his own. But that's sometimes the prevalent attitude. Think more highly of others and look down on people who are illiterate and have no education. I've always mentioned this about the term loved ones. Why do we have loved ones? Maybe because the others we don't care to love, right? Or we love certain people more than others, which should not be the attitude of followers of Christ, because Jesus said, be like your Father, who loves all, the righteous and the unrighteous alike. Because if you do, you will prove to be His sons. No stratification, no classification, no respecter of persons, whether they be of a certain gender, race, age, whether they're are kin or not, whatever their financial standing is or their social standing, or whatever their literacy is, and even their moral condition. We judge people, and in fact we have armed ourselves with, to me, a more powerful weapon than nuclear bombs. It's called the internet, and commenting and destroying people and assassinating one another using the keyboard. It's malice, it's murder. And James says, refrain from this attitude. It's not godly. In my high school batch, grade school batch, I remember classmates who were really not good academically, and yet they're successful people today. And I know of certain intellectuals in my class who are too embarrassed to come to reunions because they feel they don't have anything to offer or to boast about. This should not be so among us Christians. One of our bishops, he flunked one of our courses in the church, and he was told that he would never amount to anything. Now he's our bishop in Europe, and he's being mightily used by God there to advance His kingdom. Who are we to judge the servant of another? St. Paul asks. Who are we to judge the servant of another? To his own master he stands or falls. And he will stand, St. Paul says, because his master is able to make him stand. And that's his goal. His master is the Almighty God. And his goal for us is, for all of us, to be able to stand. And he is able to make a stand. God in the gospel, the Judeans, those who lived in Judea, where Jerusalem was, the religious people, the chief priests and the scribes, they looked down on this peasant from Galilee. Ang tingin sa kanya, tawag natin dito, promdi. Ang tawag nila sa Amerika, redneck. He, the son of a carpenter, and even rumored to be a son out of wedlock. Yun ang tingin sa kanya eh. And now he claims to be the Messiah, the Son of God. Kaya nung sinabi niyang, he admitted that he was the Son of God when he was asked, they convicted him of blasphemy. And I can never understand why a claim like that deserves the punishment of death. Well, God chooses the foolish things in the eyes of the world, the foolish things of the world, so that he could confuse the wise. And he chooses the base things of the world to embarrass those who think they're better, those who think they're higher, they're loftier. This is why I believe that greater things are yet to come. Not because I see brilliant people, young people in front of me, that I put my trust in them. No, I put my trust in God, who promised us that He will prosper the kingdom. He will increase the kingdom. He will build His own kingdom. And He will use whoever is willing. And there will always be those who will be willing. Some may reject, some may ignore God, but He always has 7,000 who will not bow the knee to the world, but always will say yes to Him. And here I am, send me, Lord. Let us all believe that. Let us put our trust in the God who can use even stones to raise up children to Abraham and to give praise to Him. May we never judge anyone. Instead, we love them. Right? We love our brothers. We love our neighbor. We don't judge them. Because that's our calling. And that's the way it is in the kingdom of our God.